Okay, happy hump day, y'all. Yeah, I don't even know what number this is. Yes, I have an affinity for Modelo, but I also I behave better with gin and juice. So, just putting it out there. Anyway, yeah. I just got done watching a movie. It came out in 1995. And then of course, I watched it and then I'm getting a whole bunch of you know, professional drag, reviews on it. So, to Foo, Wang Chu, whatever, it's got Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and that, I can't think of what that dude's name is. Anyway, he looks like the more feminine of all of them, only because he's like short. But anyway, some Mexican actor. I know his face in real life, but he did such a good job in this movie, and they all did. They all did, and it was hilarious. And emotionally, especially on the, abuse level, because there's a dynamic in there where Patrick Swayze kicks the abusive husband's ass. Anyway, and Stockard Channing's in it, and I just absolutely love her. So, anyway, we're doing like a movie review. To Fu Wang Chu. If you have not seen this movie, if you are blessed with the diversity gene like me, I don't give a fuck what you do as long as you don't commit murder, hurt anybody, or violate children. That's basically my, whole concept in life. Don't hurt people. Don't violate children. How hard can that be? Pretty simple fucking rules to live by, right? Anyway. So, yeah, I was watching a review with Trixie Mattel. Now, all I can say is that the modern day, current drag personas. Trixie, sorry, baby. You know what? I get you. I get you. And I'm glad that you're making your voice known and you are, doing your money and you're doing what you love. But damn it, you gotta tone down that fucking eye makeup. You look ridiculous, late. You look ridiculous. Tone it down. Take out some of the white. Take out some of the blank. Contour a little bit less intensive right here. Blend that shit. You've gone over the top. However, now, if she's in a club, yeah, makes sense. Yes, you need to kind of do that. Otherwise, your face is just washed out because of the lighting. But on YouTube videos, yeah, you could tone it down. Call RuPaul for advice. Love them. Love that guy. Used to watch his stand-up on VH1 when I was a teen. I've always been an admirer of drag. Always. I love it. Now, I live in the Middle Tennessee, Nashville area. I'm in suburbia of Nashville. And I guess they outlawed drag shows here. And the reason why they did that, and it wasn't because they hated drag. It was the influx of insanity of the liberal woke that was coming in, that they were trying to squash it. Because I know a lot of Democrats that are like, we're sick of this crazy shit, right? And there's a lot of conservatives out there who are like, to each his own, and we love drag. I love drag. I love the theatrics. I love the artistry. When I lived in Florida, there was a gay bar that was around the corner. Everybody went there. It didn't matter if you were gay or straight, whatever. There was a guy there that used to do a drag show. His actual name was Corey. He was, oh my fucking God, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Amazing show. Hell yeah. I was like, fuck yeah. And there I was on a date with a buddy of mine who was friends with a lot of this, group. I am very diverse. I really don't care what you do as long as you are happy. As long as you don't kill nobody and as long as you don't violate children, you are a friend of mine. It's really not hard. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your upbringing is. So let me give you my review of Foo. To Fu Wang Chu. I found it amusing that had they shown any sort of flashback of Chi-Chi, the character, it's the Latin actors thing, of her upbringing or mom, we would understand her fashion sense. Now, Patrick Swayze, his character, they drive by his house in the movie, and his mother comes out, and she is very refined in business suit attire, pastel colored, and she recognizes that it's him. And she has this, persona of disgust. She goes back into the house. But it's funny because Patrick Swayze's character, Vivian, he is very refined and classy and could go down, quite literally, Rodeo Drive and or walk into Saks and fit right in. He drags out in representation of his upbringing and what he is used to. And basically, New York, Manhattan snobbery. That is how he dresses. That is how he portrays himself, is very refined. Wesley Snipes, you can kind of predict on the back end that his mom was funny, family barbecue type of lady, down to earth, normal fucking person, because all of his outfits represent normal fucking person. Or when he gets dressed up, he really doesn't know how to go over the top. He just does it enough to say, yep, I'm dressed up. Whereas a little Latin one, he was in little mini skirts and tied up little, button-up shirts. And I'm looking at the fashion the whole time, right? And I pour concrete for a living. Yes, I'm psychoanalyzing this movie and their fashion and their wardrobe. And I'm giggling. Like, they're dressing like their mothers. That was what I came up with. Now, I don't know. I've never read the, tomato review. I've never read any kind of reviews as far as this movie. This movie came out in 1995, and this is the very first time today that I have ever seen it. I swear to God, I watched it start to finish. Yes. They are dressing like their mothers or their sisters. And I'm like, that is fantastic. And I think it's awesome that little Chi-Chi gets the Queen of Drag at the end because, yeah, she was the one that pulled it off the best. She was getting hit on in the town that they got stuck in because her car broke down. That kind of thing. Men could not tell that he was a guy, So, yeah, that is, remarkably. Now, when I was at that drag show at that one club that was, in Florida, and I had only gone there like twice, It was right around the corner from my house, but I'd only been there twice. The dude that was doing the show, you couldn't. Even when he got down off the stage and I was standing there looking at him, he was like 5'10", but He didn't. Yeah, you couldn't tell. And that fascinated the shit out of me, right? So, in any case, there are a lot of liberal wokes out there who seem to think that all conservative and or moderate independents, what have you, have this disdain for creativity and or the drag scene and or the gay community and or the, you know, the LGB, now the TQ by themselves, you know, because yeah, they've divorced, which I think they should have left the T on there, because the Q community is just, they're a separate entity altogether. That's the drags. You know, most of them are already LGB, right? But you got trans that are L and trans that are G and trans that are B. And the queer community, most of them are G and B. And it's a theatric thing. It's an occupation thing. It's something they get into to earn money. They're performers. They're actresses. You know, RuPaul is probably the most famous of all of them in much respect. He had his own stand-up on VH1, and I used to watch him religiously after school every day. Absolutely loved the guy. I had no idea that that was a woman, that was a dude. It wasn't, I wasn't aware that it was actually a dude until several years. And there was a movie, I can't remember, Stockard Channing was in it, but Rue was there as himself. He wasn't in drag. And he was kind of like a confidant to Stockard in that movie. I can't remember the name of it. That one I saw. Bits and pieces of it. Yeah, there's sometimes I start to watch a movie and then something comes up and I have to leave and then I can't finish it and kind of goes on the back burner and I move on with life, and then it's like, oh, I never did see the second half of that, you know, and then I go buy the video just so I can see the half of it that I started back 20 years ago on HBO, VH1, or whatever, Cinemax. So in any case, that is the remarkable concept for the day. I started watching a content creator, Voices of Vicky, I think is the name of the channel. I think. Shame on you, Gin and Juice. You're making my brain go fried. Anyway, doesn't matter. I ain't got to be to work until 7 in the morning. It's a lesbian content creator who was discussing all of the ins and outs and the, you know, the whole psychoanalytical dynamics of this LGB divorcing the TQ element, in which, you know, in some ways, I think the trans need their own arena, and I think the queen, you know, the queer, I call it the queens, because nobody's fucking queer, you know. It's just the queens, you know. Jeffree Star's a queen. You know, he's a male. He wears makeup. He doesn't care. He's kind of a little bit part of the LGB, but he's not trans. Trans are their own element altogether. They fall into the LGB, but they're not. And of course, you know, along the lines of, you know, something I had said, why do we have this dog and pony show? Why is there constantly, you know, this circus sideshow of fucking constant litigation in the court systems in government discussing all of this crap? Why? When in all actuality, you know, everybody's human. Why have they never brought up the XXY and the YYX configuration of chromosome birth defect? No. They totally, like, underlie it. It's like, we don't want to talk about that. Especially Republicans. They don't want to talk about that. I served in the military with one of these guys. Klinefelter syndrome or whatever. Yeah. He got lucky. He's got the chromosomal. He got the metabolism. He's got the junk, but the junk don't work. Super cool dude. Explained it to me in confidence because I had a medical background, and so I was open and understanding. Not to mention, I was like, how the fuck can you eat anything you want and not gain a pound? Jealous. Yes. Guilty. And they explained it. And I was like, oh, dude, that sucks. He goes, yeah, you got a fat ass, but at least you can have an orgasm. I was like, damn, that was raw. Wasn't rude, but it was raw. To the point. He goes, yeah, you might have a fat ass, but at least you can have an orgasm. Righteous. That is a transsexual. He had I'm probably not even pronouncing it right. And if I was smart, I'd stop it right here, go get a slide, stick it in here, and give you all of the different categorizations of that chromosomal defect. So when the libs or the Democrats are saying that there's more than one gender, no, there is not. There's only two. And we have 6 subgenders that are a chromosomal defect. It is a birth defect. So I'm going to run down all the different combinations that you could probably find. Testicles in the place of ovaries with vagina. Testicles and a very malformed, not formed completely, penis apparatus with the chromosome. Feminine facial features. However, the penis doesn't work. Ovaries are not existent. Cervix is non-existent. However, the junk doesn't work. The other combination is male genitalia, female genitalia. Both evident. The male genitalia is dropped into the testes. The ovaries are there, and the cervix is not developed completely. The other combination. Testicles are there, ovaries are there, cervix is not developed, but there are ovaries and fallopian tubes evident. No vagina opening. Yes, these are the different transsexual combinations, and there's probably a couple more. Somebody might fall into this category, might comment on here. Yeah, this is mine. Is there more than one gender? No. But there are anomalies in the chromosomal developmental factors when in vitro that have caused anatomical and or biological discrepancies in the children. Now, what this does is it causes a conundrum within the parental decision and the medical professional decision. Some parents are like, we're just going to let our kid grow up different and they can decide for themselves when they're older. There's some parents who make the executive decision based upon which gender is the most dominant. And in cases where it's questionable, if you got the underdeveloped penis, but you also have the vagina, you've got testes, however, you've got ovaries with fallopian tubes, but the cervix is not fully developed. That is a hard decision. for the parents, especially if you have a vagina there. Now, you had a female, you could castrate and have a female with underdeveloped cervix, which means likely she's never going to carry children. You have a male with an underdeveloped penis type of is he going to really be happy? That kind of thing. So given the situation, this is rational talk. This is realistic situations that over the course of X number of years, I've ran across or just kind of like watched indiscriminately. Kind of like if you have ever watched House, there is one episode there where he's got a perfect female. She's never had a mense. She hardly grows any hair on her body. Perfect boobs. She's a runway model. And when they go to look to find what is wrong with this girl because she collapses on stage, they discover that in where her ovaries should be are not ovaries, they are testicles. But she has vaginal opening. That kind of thing. Yeah, them kind of scenarios. And she's traumatized because it went unnoticed. The point is that nobody on this earth is perfect. Nobody. Some people are heavy. Some people are thin. Some people have medical anomalies. Some people don't. Some people are abused. Some people decide that, inside their head that they're more attracted to the same gender. Whereas other people are attracted to masculine versions of their gender. Some people are attracted to feminine versions of their gender. Some people go through life not knowing, it's like, yep, if I were to be involved, I prefer men, but I need a man that is more masculine than me. Some people go through life not caring what gender they are as long as they're good people. Nobody gives a shit anymore. We all understand that it is all, to each his own. I mean, if you go back in history, for crying out loud, you got the 14th, 15th, 16th centuries where men were wearing fucking wigs and makeup. And if you weren't wearing makeup, then you were a peasant. If you weren't wearing a wig, you were a peasant. For crying, go look up Catherine the Great and her husband. She took over his throne because he was effeminate and a coward. Yes, she did. Homosexuality and alternate sexual lifestyles have been around for fucking centuries, probably since the dawn of man. There are cultures where masculine affection, like Iraq, men hold hands there all the time. It's okay for them. They don't give a shit. Here, we're bickering about it. Trying to make a movement. Created a whole society of fucking crazy people. You gotta, let's get off the hiatus and stop trying to indoctrinate everybody into some sort of weird, idealistic, socio-political fucking twisted concept of way things should be. And let's focus on what's real. Life, liberty, and the pseudo fucking happiness. Have jobs. Nobody gives a fuck about color anymore. Nobody gives a fuck about sexuality anymore. Let's just, can we get the economy in check? So we can get the homeless situation fixed? That's what we're working on. Not everybody thinks like me. And if I miss something, I'm pretty sure there's an argument coming out. But be rational about it. No, I didn't touch on every different fucking subject there is out there. Because we got environmental factors. We've got sociological factors. We've got inner city issues. We've got rural issues. We've got opportunistic issues. I grew up in a fucking town that had nothing there. And it still has nothing there. According to the friends I just had dinner with about a week ago. There's no growth. There's no job. Work in the factory like your parents did. If you can get hired. If you have no car, you're not going to have no fucking job. Because there's no jobs where you live. You need a car to get to where the jobs are. There you find somebody who works in the other town over. Be like, hey, can I ride with you? Don't be a douche. Don't be late. Be early. Knock on their door before they leave their fucking house. Ride your bike to their house. Get that fucking half of the fucking responsibility in. World has gone crazy. Everybody thinks they're fucking entitled. Yes. I deal with it in my job all the time. Pump operators who don't bring their own water source. They'd rather destroy a $500,000 truck than call up dispatch and say, hey, can you bring me a mixer with just water so we can wash our shit? They feel that they're entitled to it. That's why me and this one guy had a blinking standoff when he said, that's my water for the concrete. I said, yeah, for the concrete. I think I broke something up there because he sat there blinking at me for a minute. The gross entitlement of everybody, it blows my fucking mind. It's like these, we hire people and they're thinking, I've been here 6 months, I should be getting a raise. I said, I have been on the same pay for 2 years. And you know why I don't bitch? Because this occupation and my employer, they're like family. And when the money picks up, they will compensate accordingly. I don't beg for it. I'm grateful. Considering all of the different scenarios that I've been put in, they could have fired me for my mouth. But they need us to do this job. I don't take advantage of it. I try to be good. I try. I fucking try. There's some days where I have to call dispatch and I'm about to snap on this motherfucker. What's he doing? Okay, call me later. Just get out, get it off the truck, get rinsed out, and get out of there. That kind of thing. Yes. It's fucking everywhere. But as far as like alternate sexual lifestyles, you know what? I could bring religiosity into this. You know what? Need not. Want not. God will judge those who judge. There's only certain things that I judge. And the things that I judge are, surface level decency. That's it. If you can't be a decent person, then that's that battle on your judgment day. Can I forgive people? Yes and no. Some people don't deserve forgiveness. In my mind. No. Some people do, some people don't. Depends on the situation. and how bad the damage is that you've done to the individual in which you did it to will mark whether or not you deserve forgiveness. Nope. Does my sister who raised my daughter deserve forgiveness? No. She does not. She didn't just hurt me. She hurt my daughter. Does my mom? Yeah. Her situation was completely different. Yes, I do forgive my mother. Yes, I do. Do I forgive my sisters? No. My other sisters? No. All three? No. My brother, he's already passed. Yes. Depends on the situation. Depends on who was involved and who got hurt. And the entire situation as a whole. Yes. Do I forgive my ex? All of my exes? 2 of them. But not the most recent. He's still playing the game. Karma's going to catch his ass eventually. Can't wait to see that happen. So, y'all have a great night. Happy hump day. Peace out.